Warning, warning everybody. I don't care if you're a business owner. I don't care if you're an employee. I don't care if you're a helicopter pilot flying over my head right now. Investor, CEO, laborer, retired, soon to be retired, or so you think. Amazon founder Jeff Bezos warns a recession is looming and Americans should prepare for the worst. Now, this doesn't really come as any real surprise here. Like, he's not telling us anything we didn't already know. No, that's what I'm here for. I'm here to let you guys know that these folks are playing a game. And the folks that I'm talking about are the uber rich, super wealthy, billionaires, the powerful that have control and ultimately decide the fate of many. And the game that they're playing, unfortunately, there's winners and losers. Now, the losers, let's talk about the winners, okay? The winners, they're playing a game, and at the end of the day, the folks that are playing this game, they're all winners. In a sense of, at the end of the day, they're going to walk away with more money, more control, more power, more assets, more wealth than they had before the game started. This game's been going on for quite some time. We do every now and again see some new players introduced and accepted and allowed into the game, but the winners are the ones playing the game. Now, the losers, unfortunately, folks, just being 100% honest and transparent with you guys, I want this channel to be a daily motivation, but I'm going to hold true to my mission statement of providing knowledge, information, and the truth. And the truth being that the losers in this game aren't even playing. The losers in the game didn't even have a chance to play to win. You see what I'm saying? I'm talking about particularly folks in poverty, more than likely fixed income on Social Security, SSA, SSI, disability. Folks out there, I'm going to tell you right now, the folks out there tuning in and day out, hoping and praying for a miracle from the government in the form of a stimulus check. I'm not saying you guys are losers per se. I'm saying in this game, you've already lost. I'm going to expand on that in just a moment. But the folks that are going to lose out of everything that's going on, the end result, the outcome of this game that's being played by these billionaires and trillionaires and the super wealthy and world leaders and whatnot, shadow entities, they win, everyone else loses. But there is a little bit of a gray area. Now, that gray area, I'd like to think that the gray area includes myself, some close friends and some colleagues of mine. The gray area includes some people out there grinding and hustling and investing and learning and reading books and educating themselves and expanding their network, building families and communities of folks, of like-minded individuals looking to not lose, okay? And as a result, by doing that, you can align yourself with the outcomes and the events that happen, that occur, changes in the markets, fluctuations in pricing, asset appreciation, positive net gains and returns on investments. You can align yourselves with the players that are all going to be winners in this game so that you too can be a subsidiary of the wins. You can be a winner by association, not necessarily that you align with their values or you co-sign on their ideas and their agenda, but because you've positioned yourself and your family, your personal finances, your business, your personal net worth, your financial well-being, you've aligned it so that you don't fall by the wayside of the folks that get swallowed up with inflation, with the recession, with a deep recession, hyperinflation, higher interest rates, job loss, layoffs, hiring freezes. Now I'm gonna expand a little bit further about this game that's being played. And if you're watching this video, this is purely a warning that should come as a form of motivation to not subsequently become a loser for the fact that the game is being played against you and you're not doing anything about it. So Amazon founder Jeff Bezos warns a recession is looming and Americans should prepare for the worst. And we're going to read into this a little bit. And it says that Jeff Bezos has warned a U.S. recession is looming and advises consumers and businesses to stockpile cash in case there's a devastating downturn. It's funny because this is coming from the same person who just announced that twofold. One, he's vowing to pretty much disperse his wealth throughout the rest of his lifetime. All the money that he has, his wealth, all his assets, everything that's fallen on his personal and business balance sheets in the asset columns, while at the same time, he's not the owner of Amazon, but he still holds a seat on the board. He's a huge influence to the company and the decisions that the company makes, which is probably a very strategic move so that he isn't the face of it anymore. He let someone else take that fall. But he's definitely a huge beneficiary of the profits. The same guy who's vowed to disperse his wealth is also the same person involved with cutting 10,000 jobs from Amazon. White collar workers losing their jobs before Christmas. Merry Christmas from Jeff Bezos. You're out of a job. While quietly, news outlets like the New York Times have revealed that Amazon has been facing high levels of employee attrition after having over 80,000 employees eliminated by way of quitting, being fired, laid off, not in a mass layoff or mass firing frenzy, but just over time. They've cut their staff by about 80,000 jobs, and they didn't refill those positions. So now, on top of that, you add another 10,000 lost. You got 90,000 jobs at Amazon that are kaput. They're gone. Sayonara. And so you got to think, this is a huge impact. And this is before we even get into the tech industry and all these other companies that are laying off folks. But this is part of the game that they're playing, that they're winning. And it says that Jeff Bezos warned of a U.S. recession looming and advised consumers and businesses to stockpile cash in case there's a devastating downturn. That's an amazing statement to say. As a business owner whose business revolves around selling products, you're warning folks to stockpile cash, which insinuates don't spend it. I wonder what this means for the future of the company. Now, it says that the Amazon's billionaire founder and executive chairman, Jeff Bezos, told CNN on Saturday, the economy does not look great right now. I think a blind person could tell you that. But with that being said, he's still rich, okay? He's not the only one. there's still people out there with a lot of money, still people out there doing well. And although the economy from a whole may not look great, it's not bad for everybody. You see what I'm saying? Perhaps maybe if you're in a business, if you're in industry, if you're in retail, let's just say you sell clothing, that may not be a great position to be in right now with the way that the economy is and the way that consumer spending and shopping habits and trends are changing. However, if you were in a repossession business or foreclosure business where you go in and you collect properties for banks and clean them up and things like that, or if you're in an eviction business and you can do a turnkey on apartments and rental properties for the next tenant, it could be good for some. It could be great for some. I'm telling you that right now. Speaking from experience, it could be great for some if you've positioned yourself properly. And that position doesn't have to be a single position. And this is the beauty and the reason why I speak of multiple income streams and building businesses, because the beauty of it is at any given time in my repertoire, I have multiple sources and businesses and directions that I can go depending on how the market is positioned so that I can always have an upside. Now, as we go along here, it says that things are slowing down. You're seeing layoffs in many, many sectors of the economy. And Jeff Bezos continued to say that the probabilities say if we're not in a recession right now, we're likely to be in one very soon. You guys been watching my videos in the past. You know that we are in a recession. The numbers show it. The consecutive quarters of negative GDP show it. The feeling that you have when you get your paycheck and it's pretty much already gone and spent before you even cash it or before it even hits the direct deposit in your bank account, let alone if the bank will even allow you access to the funds. That's a whole nother story. Bank accounts being frozen left and right. There's warning signs everywhere, folks. But the thing is, if you've been watching the videos in the past, you know that the thing about a recession, especially if we look back on the last recession. They didn't say it was a recession while it was a recession. They said it was a recession after it was a recession to prove that it was. Think about it like this. If you were ill and you don't feel well and you sit it out, you sit one out, you take about a week off, you stay home, you rest up, you get fluids, you take care of yourself, you nurse yourself back to health. And then you move past that and you're like, man, I wasn't feeling too good. I was ill, under the weather. What'll happen is maybe you go to the doctor, they do a checkup on you, they run some tests and they say, oh, well, you had C-19. It's much like the recession. You've already had it and you've already been through it and you've already recovered. It's just someone confirming that at that time, that's what happened. And that's what's going to happen with this recession. When we're coming out of the recession, perhaps towards a recovery, which the folks who are out there trying to time the markets for the right time to get in, I'm talking to you guys. As we're on the road to recovery, then they're going to say, oh, it was a recession. But when they say that, like I told you, the news is reactionary. The news is telling you everything that's already happened, and by then it's too late. And it's also probably biased, and it's not really helping you and informing you and helping guide you along with a plan and a strategy for success beyond. They're just trying to keep you back, keep you down. They're part of the winners too. So they want to do all they can to make sure that there's as many losers as possible. So by the time they say we're in a recession, we're already out of a recession, if that makes sense. Long story short, that's what it means. Now, it says here that Bezos recommended that American households delay big ticket purchases such as new TVs, refrigerators, and cars, given the risk that economic conditions worsen. And similarly, he suggests small business owners consider holding off on investments in new equipment and build their cash reserves instead. Sound advice. But interestingly enough, I don't think TVs are a huge seller on Amazon. I don't think refrigerators and cars are a huge seller on Amazon. which is positioning Bezos to maintain Amazon's vital position in consumer purchases by saying, don't buy all this other stuff and save your money. Just buy everything you need from Amazon. The e-commerce pioneer declined to estimate how long the recession could last, but he urged people to be ready for an economic disaster. Take as much risk off the table as you can, he said. Hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. I can tell you right now, I've seen some folks out and about throwing money around, spending, wasting, flossing on the gram, flexing, stunting for clout, showing off new purses, new bags, new sneakers, new shoes, new nails, new hair, expensive trips, vacations, new cars with drive-out tags, all that stuff. Right now, you're losing money. You're not preparing for the worst, and you're going to feel this pain the most very soon. Even though you may appear to look a certain type of way, you, my friends, are going to be classified in that loser category because you're not doing what you should be doing right now, which is preparing. Now, I'm not talking about buying a bunch of cans and jars and batteries and solar generators. I ain't talking about that. I'm talking about financial preparation, folks. Bezos' latest comments echo his response to Goldman Sachs CEO David Solomon in October, when the bank chief said there's a good chance of a U.S. recession. Yep, the probabilities in this economy, tell you to batten down the hatches, Bezos tweeted at the time. And Andy Jassy, who succeeded Bezos at as Amazon CEO last summer, appears to share his predecessor's recession fears. Amazon has been cutting costs, slowing spending, and freezing hiring for certain roles in recent months, likely in preparation for a tougher economic backdrop. When you got a big major player in the game like Amazon publicly making these statements, it's time to pay attention. It's time to put the popcorn down. You got to stop watching now. You got to start making moves. You got to take action, okay? Because this may be the very last time that you have the option and ability to take action. Leading investors, executives, academics, and analysts have sounded the recession alarm this year. They've pointed to the Federal Reserve's efforts to combat inflation, which surged to a 40-year high of 9.1% in June and remained at 7.7% in October. Meanwhile, wages have only gone up by about 4.3%. Okay? So even though now 7.7%, wages have only gone up by about 4.3%. You see what I'm saying? You're still behind the curve. You're still behind the 8 ball. The U.S. Central Bank is rushing to cool the economy and alleviate upward pressure on prices by raising interest rates. It has hiked them from nearly zero in March to a range of 3.75 to 4% today, and indicated they could peak above 5% for the first time since 2007. This is going to be devastating to the housing market for buyers looking to secure a mortgage. Mortgage originations are down tremendously. Sellers are at risk of being trapped in their properties. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go check out Chris Igoe, South Florida, ChrisIgoe. He just put up a video today about homeowners and their feelings of being trapped in their homes and they can't sell. You might want to go check it out. This is a huge, huge signal. And what folks need to be paying attention. Remember I said read more books, speak to more educated folks, talk to more people, build out your network, your circle, your sphere. Not just the folks who are sitting here saying, hey, did you see what Kim Kardashian did the other day? Did you hear what Ye did? You know, did you hear about Giselle? No, we don't need that. We need folks out here talking about what's actually really going on that's really going to affect us day to day, whether it be personally in our personal finances or in business, and perhaps maybe the business that we work for, and how it could potentially lead to the future of that company going out of business, mass layoffs, bankruptcy, huge job cuts, hiring freezes. We're seeing it already. It's only going to get worse. The Fed, Jerome Powell, he said, softening of the job markets, shrinking the balance sheets. There will be pain felt by families and businesses. 1.2 million jobs at risk. 1.2 million jobs was the target for job loss, folks. As inflation comes down, job loss goes up. Now, it says that the upshot is that American consumers and businesses may have to weather soaring prices, surging borrowing costs, and a shrinking economy. Bezos is likely recommending they stockpile cash to help them survive that painful squeeze. I think we share similar sentiments here, and you want to make sure that cash is in a safe place. But at the same time, I don't want to just stockpile the cash. I want to make sure that my cash is working for me. Not my cash, but my money is working for me to make more money. And this is going to be very important as far as what investment vehicle you choose to put that in, so that it's growing, but you also have the ability to have access to it if you need liquidity in a hurry. That liquidity could be for an emergency, or that liquidity could be for a huge opportunity for even more growth. And this is part of the game that they play, these wealthy billionaires and millionaires and business owners, and that's the game they play, is having the ability to make moves quickly that will make them more money. And speaking of making more money, I want to talk about Michael Burry. It says here that the legendary investor has just invested in 5 new companies after liquidating most of his stock portfolio in the second quarter. Now, what I want to do is I want to be careful as far as what I do in reaction to the news that I'm reading, but I also want to be making sure that I'm paying attention to those who have proven success in wealth building before me. And it was very interesting because I was actually looking at some figures from some other investors, albeit private investors, but looking at the trends and noticing how many dollars, how many millions, multiple millions and billions of dollars are being devoted to shorting companies in anticipation of their stock values going down. That's something that you really want to pay attention to. And, much like Warren Buffett when he said that for some reason, people really enjoy the price of hamburgers going down. They like that. But they don't like the price of stocks going down. They like buying hamburgers at a discount, but they don't like buying stocks at a discount. Odd phenomenon. But like I said, the economy may be bad, but it's not bad for everybody. You can make money in stocks when buying them on a discount, but you can also make money in stocks buying them in anticipation of them going down in value. Whole nother topic, conversation, another video. But here it says that Michael Burry has accustomed business circles and the general public to unusual decisions that he chooses to make. The legendary investor is accustomed to blows of brilliance, is how they put it here. And the financier, known for having bet on the collapse of subprime mortgages back in 2008 crisis, likes to go against the general trend on Wall Street. I can't blame him. For the past month, the man whose business acumen was made famous by the film The Big Short in 2015 or 2015 keeps predicting that the economy will fall into recession. He anticipates a fall in the equity market. Now, somebody actually said that they were looking at some stocks and they were looking at them and they were relating them to a knife. It was a falling knife. You don't want to try to catch a falling knife. You want to wait until it drops and hits the floor. It's too dangerous. But I don't know if I want to look at investing in stocks as a falling knife, because I don't think investing in stocks with the way the economy is right now, automatically, inherently makes it that dangerous. How you invest could, but in me personally, my opinion, my dollar cost averaging method, my buy and hold method, I don't want to wait until the knife drops and hits the floor, because much like the recession, much like your illness that was diagnosed after the fact, you're not going to know that the knife hit the floor. You're not going to know that these stock prices hit the bottom until after, well after, and someone tells you that that was the bottom. The data tells you that that was the bottom, and guess what? Now you're buying on the up, and when you buy on the up, you're limiting your opportunity and ability to make more money. You make money when you buy, folks. You'll make more money when you buy opposed to when you sell. It's a combination of the two. Now, Michael Burry says that the worst, he says, is yet to come. He adds that he foresees a household debt crisis that would pose a serious danger to the economy. That goes without saying, folks. I've already experienced it. Not me, myself personally, but a lot of people contact me and communicate with me, and I work with a lot of different clients and a lot of different people in various levels and stages of their financial situations. And this is real. This is real. And they're saying, man, I wish I wasn't in this situation. I wish I would have done something sooner. Please help. My family is, in danger. We have no money in savings. May have experienced a layoff. Some of these dual income, even the dual income, it's called DINK, D-I-N-K, dual income, no kid, DINK. DINK was a pretty strong financial position to be in. It's a dual income household relationship, couple, partner, whatever you want to call it, whoever you're seeing, dating, whatever. Dual income, no kid. So they were maximizing their income. They were limiting their expenses by not having kids. They had extreme flexibility as far as the jobs and their living situations. But even some of those folks are feeling the squeeze of this inflation. I'm working with them too. We're all seeing progress. But at the end of the day, no one is immune from what is going on. But the folks who are not educated and not gaining knowledge and are not taking this as a form of motivation to get themselves in a position where these concerns and these worries don't affect them on a day-to-day, they're at greatest risk. So it says, remember the savings glut problem? No more. The pandemic helicopter cash taught people to spend again, and it's addictive. Winter's coming. This is what Burry warned last August. And that's the Fed. That was the Fed's goal and motivation. The Fed, trying to keep the economy going during the shutdown and slowdown with stimulus checks and government aid and the CARES Act and paycheck programs and paycheck protection programs and EIDL programs and SBA loan programs and unemployment insurance, paying people to stay at home. It was an addiction. They got people on this addiction. Then, the supply chain slowdown added to that problem of the addiction. Then the companies and businesses continued to keep their prices high, some of which intentional, some of which by force because of the higher cost of raw goods and raw materials and input costs from other countries being shut down. Increased demand, limited supply, shipping constraints, problems at the ports, diesel prices going up, the whole nine. You guys know. We've been talking about this. Burry says that winter's coming. Seems to be a reference to an HBO series, Game of Thrones. But it says that, it's got a little tweet here. It says that Michael Burry tweeted that net consumer credit balances are rising at record rates as consumers choose violence rather than cut back on spending in the face of inflation. This is crazy. Burry suggested that households continue to spend money without looking, which also affects their savings. In doing so, Americans are putting themselves in a precarious financial situation while inflation remains a drag on the economy. It's like running through a red light. It's a bad idea. It's dangerous. Yet people were doing it anyway. He then confirmed terrible prediction by liquidating almost all of his U.S. stock portfolio in the second quarter. Scion Asset Management, his firm, only owns shares of a single company, which was GEO Group, stock ticker symbol GEO, as of June 30, according to regulatory filings. Scion owned at the time over 500,000 GEO shares worth $3.31 million. The company invests in private prisons and mental health sites. I'll have to link the video so you guys can watch it, but I called it this summer when I told you guys that the mental health was going to be a huge impact. This is going to be a huge fallout because of the folks that are going to be losing in this situation, and more than likely the folks out there who have the most to lose in this situation as they fall from their high perch. They have that far fall that they're going to face serious mental health issues, while the folks closer to the bottom that have already been swallowed up by inflation and the recession, they didn't have very far to fall. They're used to getting kicked while they're down. Odds are they're not going to see too much of a difference. They're going to continue to struggle. They're going to continue to go hungry, have food insecurities, have housing insecurities, possibly homeless, living in their cars. But it says that Scion, Burry's company, invests in private prisons, which is interesting that we have private prisons out there, for-profit prisons. But as things get worse, people are going to get crazier, and private prisons and mental health institutions sounds like a sound investment to me. So it says here that as of March 31, Scion Asset Management had invested in 11 companies, including Alphabet, which is Google, Meta Platform, Stellantis, Bristol Myers, Cigna, GEO Group. Was not on the list in March, but it's been a new addition. Burry's investment strategy has evolved further. As of September 30, the financier seems to have bought the dip of the market shares. He added shares of new companies to his portfolio, which now has 6 companies compared to only 1 as of June 30. And if you're saying to yourself, well, Kevin, how do I get involved in investing like Michael Burry? There's so many different ways. There's numerous ways of doing it. One of the easiest ways that I have found, I have multiple. I've got Webull, I've got M1 Finance, I've got Fidelity, but I also have Robinhood, and Robinhood is by far right now my favorite for ease and simplicity. And if you guys want, you sign up and you get approved and you link a bank account, Robinhood will give you a free stock to get started too. So Robinhood is also where I invest in dividend paying stocks that ultimately just pay me on a regular basis, passive income through dividend. So it says that what is also interesting are the sectors in which he has chosen these companies. Burry bets on the media, aerospace, and maintains his confidence in prisons. According to new regulatory documents, they show that he acquired shares of Aerojet Rocketdyne, Charter Communications, Core Civic, GEO Group, Liberty Latin America, and Qurate Retail. I'm not familiar with Qurate Retail, so I'm going to have to look that one up and get back to you guys on that one. I'm interested in knowing why he's investing in retail. But in total, his equity portfolio has a total value of $41.3 million, which is up from $38 million from 3 months earlier. So the wealthy folks out there are still buying. They're still investing, but they're buying assets. They're buying ownership in businesses and companies. They're not out buying crap and junk and handbags and sneakers and Lambos. They're not buying crap. They're buying more cash flow producing assets. They're increasing their net worth. They're not taking on further liabilities. Burry's choice to invest in media is surprising, as the sector is one of those most affected by the recent stock market sell-offs. That's what I said. I'm really curious as to why he's investing. in the retail, but I'm also curious about media. So stock market regulations require managers of funds with more than $100 million in U.S. equities to file a document known as a 13F within 45 days of the end of the quarter to list their holdings in stocks and trade on U.S. exchanges. And that's why all this information is being made available about Michael Burry. But the simple fact of the matter is, folks, there's a game being played. The winners are going to win. The losers are probably not even involved, and they're going to lose. And then you have the folks in the middle, in the gray area, who have an opportunity to win or lose. That is your choice to make. Paying attention to folks like Jeff Bezos, we're paying attention to Jeff Bezos. We're paying attention to Andy Jassy. We're paying attention to Michael Burry. We're paying attention to the big movers out there, what's going on. We're paying attention to signals. We're paying attention to prices. And we are not afraid of being involved in investment opportunities that will allow us to survive this recession. I'm going to come out of this saying that I survived, but I don't know how many other folks are going to have the same ability to say the same thing. Answer me this question. Do you feel as though that you will come out the other side of this recession and say that you survived? Comment down below and let me know. In the meantime, you guys take care, be safe. I'll see you on the next one.